Welcome back, friends. I have a very special guest. This amazing woman I have known for how long have I known you, Nanette?
Oh my God, at least 14 years.
At least
At
14 years.
least 14. I believe it's a little bit longer because Charlene and I were trying to figure it out.
And so Nanette is a very good friend with my sister Charlene, and you guys hear me talk about Charlene all the time. And Nanette had a tragic loss in her life. And I believe, Nanette, you got reached out to by more than one person. It was like, reach out to Sharon and Erica, and you're like, no, 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 which I get. And I want to tap a little bit into that. We're going to be sharing a little bit about Nanette's amazing story and her journey back to recovery. But more importantly, this is going to be a two-part series, friends. And we're going to talk about her celebrating the holidays this year and just the differences she's made. Nanette, please introduce yourself and tell us you have an amazing family. I was actually thinking about this morning. The relationship that you have with your dad,
Yes.
relationship you have with your mom, and the relationship you have with your daughter. Those three in particular, and even your godmother and your extended family, like you have deep, intimate relationships with the people in your life, which is so beautiful.
Those are my people. Yeah.
Um,
Those are my people. And like a mother bear or hen, if anybody messes with them, I'm on them. I don't care if they're not my DNA, if I call them family, because instantly your sister actually really got my barriers down for his outside extended family. She was not going to just be a friend, she was going to be family. And the first time I met your family, including you, I was not a friend. I was automatically the nickname, bougie. I don't mind saying it. And I found out your mom didn't even know my real name like 5 years later. She didn't even know who Nanette was. So I'm very protective in my circle. My circle is small and it's tight, and you cannot get in it easily. That's just how I am. I just didn't trust outsiders. My mom, it was my mom, my dad, and my daughter. And to lose all three of them, um, I became lost. Uh,
yeah.
my dad, I was sort of prepared. He had a bad heart all my life. I got phone calls all my life from the time I was 16. This is going to be it. And then I get there, sit there in the hospital with him every night. And 3 weeks later, he's back to the motorcycle riding and doing his thing. So I got numb to it. When he passed 6 months before my wedding, I was still numb to it. I was devastated that day. And then I went right back to planning my wedding and got busy. It wasn't until I got to the altar when my godfather, my dad's best friend, told me the love my dad had for me, that how he would talk to all his club members about me. He never did it to me. I knew he loved me though. I knew it. We had a weird, strange bond. He would bump into me and I'm like, what is that about? And that was because that was his way of saying I love you. He was so weird. And I felt that. Never felt that he didn't. But when my godfather broke it down to me, it just, oh my God, I fell apart. Got married. 5 years after that divorce, one day I was cleaning the one picture that I have of him. Because back in those days, we didn't have cameras. And I was good for having them disposable cameras and not getting it developed. Found some rolls of film, and the only picture that did not get exposed was the one picture of me and my dad on his birthday.
Oh my gosh.
I was dusting it and cried all day. Didn't understand it. I understand it now that I've been with you. I grieved for my father almost 10 years after he had gone.
That is so amazing because there's so many grievers that are just in that same, and for you to say it, like for us to say that part out loud helps other
Mhm.
grievers hear, I'm not crazy.
Yeah, I thought I was that day. Like, what is going on?
Because
And I
grief
couldn't
makes you
stop.
think you're crazy. Grief makes you
Yeah,
think you're crazy. What
yeah.
year did dad pass?
My dad passed in 1993.
Okay, so 1993.
Hmm.
Okay, so I'm just keeping a record. So it was like 10 years later.
Yes.
You're just allowing it to come to the surface.
Hmm. I was dusting our picture, and the tears started flowing, and then it got heavy. And literally, I ended up in a ball on the couch all day going,
Mm.
this.
Mm.
Because I had no idea about grieving. So, I mean, I cried, of course, that day, mainly when I heard the motorcycles, because that was his life.
Yeah.
Um, and I went home sitting around. They told my, to be husband to put me in bed. I'm like, I don't want to lay down. No, no, you got to lay down. I laid down and laid there like, what is this? My God, it was so weird. With my mom, I took care of my mom.
Yeah.
My mom had me at 40. So instantly, by the time I became a young adult, she was needing assistance. She didn't drive, never drove, and lived in California. How does that work? But owned two brand new cars. Never learned how to drive them. So of course we did the bank thing and the grocery store thing and the movie thing every other weekend. That was her weekend every other weekend for all my life since I started driving, which I started driving at 16. But I'll say around I had Sheena, so it was probably um, at 22. Every other Saturday was me, Sheena, and my mom. And we this is what we did. Her thing. Then we would go to the movies if she when Sheena got old enough. But we always went out to eat. That was mandatory. Always went out to eat. IHOP after the bank. So we
Yeah.
had that, that connection, all three of us. And as my mom got older and came down with her diabetes and whatever, I would take her to, I'd leave work and go take her to the doctor's appointments. And then when she got a little bit older, where she would get confused on what the doctor was saying, because she wasn't listening, she wasn't confused, she just wasn't going to do it. So then the medicine changes. I'd make sure I was at those appointments so I know, and then I'm like, no, no, we're going to do this. It was like a role reversal, you
Yeah.
know. And I lost my mom at 93. She was 93 years old. She didn't have dementia. She didn't have Alzheimer's. She knew every dime in the bank, but her blood sugar and her diabetes had taken over.
Had taken over. And what year was that?
My mom passed in 2014, a week before Thanksgiving.
Wow. Wow. And your dad also, that's an early question, a question I got to get to, because now what really brought you to me was your amazing, beautiful daughter,
My daughter.
Tina.
That was my twin. That was my road dog. That's the one that drove me absolutely insane. And I loved every inch of her when I didn't want to kill her. And September of 21, my daughter developed an addiction to alcohol. And me not understanding that in the first couple of years, I moved her into my house. Everything is fine now. She wouldn't drink for 3 weeks and life was good. And
Yeah.
then I come home one day from work and here we go. She was going to AA meetings, coming back, toe up. I'm like, what are we doing? Then we would have a nice another 3 weeks. I'm like, oh, finally we're over it. And then we wouldn't be. And it was just a roller coaster. She went into a program for 3 months. I'm like, this is it. We're done. No. It just did very well while she was in the program until the last week. And they trusted them to go on a bus in a group. And long story short, she didn't have any in her system, but she had it on her breath. So I mean, she did put it in her mouth. She said she spit it out. Bottom line is she did. They got kicked out the last week.
Mm.
And then from there, she went to, I put her in a hotel for a live and stay hotel because I was not going to allow her to come back to the house and still drinking. Um, Spent $400 a week to keep her there because I knew the guard was right there posted in front and he was watching her every move. He had my phone number. From there, my godfather stepped in, got her into a Christian shelter. She was there until she was able to get her own place. And she was doing very well with her AA meetings. She was leading her meetings, and I was praying every day. And I had a false sense of, I was attending Al-Anon. I
Mhm.
did more meetings than she did. Her AA meetings was once a week. I was in Al-Anon on Saturday mornings for general Al-Anon for anybody who had someone that drunk. I went to parents meeting on Thursday night, but that was just for parents who had children that had addictions. I also served on the board. I passed out pamphlets. I also went to one on Wednesday at Torrance Memorial Hospital on Saturday night. That was for alcoholics because I wanted to know their side. And it helped me because I realized that what she was doing and saying wasn't personal to me because I was hearing her story from other strangers.
Yes.
COVID hit and her meeting shut down.
Mhm.
And she met a knucklehead, and we won't go through that.
Yeah.
But he was the devil himself. He would come over and drink, which
Right.
she wasn't strong enough, so she drank. I found her.
And you lost Sheena in what year?
I'm sorry,
What year did you lose Sheena?
2021.
So 2021, so 2014, then 1993, and your people, you wake up and your people are gone.
My people are gone.
Yeah.
Those are my people,
Yeah. Yeah.
and they were gone.
And that is a tough sentence to say, but you and I both know what that means, and you know where they are in your heart.
Yes.
One other thing that I wanted to point out earlier, because I wanted you to tell Sheena's story first, was Dad babysit Sheena for you.
Yes, he did. My dad retired from his job and said nobody will keep that baby because at that point we didn't know boy girl unless it's me, your mother, or you. And if you're going to decide to let one of your girlfriends keep her, I'm not keeping her. Okay.
So Sheena and Dad were very close. Sheena
They,
and
oh,
were
she
very close.
turned. Yeah, she would have turned away from me in a heartbeat for my dad. My dad outrode everybody. Her story was she would go to grandma's if she was sick because grandma had the magic soup and she would play in her wigs and all of that. But any other time, it was her and my dad. He was the best grandfather.
I
Anything
think it's
I
such a
had with him
beautiful
was wife
story.
Charlene with her.
I, I
Yes,
I think it's such a beautiful story. So that's why I really wanted you to share.
yes.
So in 2021, you have a knife that stabbed clear through your soul. A couple of people reach out to you. They're like, you need to call Sharon. And
Mm-hmm,
you say no.
mm-hmm.
I'm not offended, but I love that. You're like, I'll call her when I'm ready.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
One, I was angry.
Yeah.
I was nothing but angry. And I did not, I was angry right now, right then, I was dealing with God.
Yeah.
I'm a Christian woman. I go to church. I believe in my faith. I always have. But with this, my faith went out the window and I wanted him to bring her back. So I didn't need help to get through it because I wasn't going to have to get through it because he's going to bring her back. And I know that sounds crazy, but that's where I was.
Nanette, number one, it doesn't sound crazy because it makes my heart full. There are so many grieving people out there, and that's how they feel.
Mm-hmm.
They really feel wronged by God. And I'm so glad you're saying that out loud. My approach with the grievers is reach out, let them know I'm there. I love you. And if you ever need me, I'm here.
Yes.
Because how would it look if I'm reaching out to you going, hey girl, blah, blah, blah. And that's what I did. I was like, I'm here. You
Mm-hmm.
know me. You
And
know
I
me
so
too.
appreciated that.
I didn't hound you. Erica and I didn't hound you. Erica reached out a little more because she also understood what it's like to be a mom that loses a
Yes.
child. And so I thought that was really good. But I was strategic in the way that I did that. And it was about 8 months later, you reached out to me and you were like, okay, I'm ready now.
Yes, I was ready to release the pain.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wasn't ready because I wasn't ready to release it because I was still bargaining,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know. So I figured I knew in my heart I was going to need you, but I knew I wasn't ready for you.
Yeah. I love that. Now, in between that, you went to therapy.
Oh, therapy. So I went online, and this is because I knew I don't know, I wasn't ready for you. So I went online to this counseling, I think it's like, I can't even remember now the name of the counseling website, but they have all these counselors. And so you put in what you need for, what kind of counseling you're looking for, and they call you back. I mean, within 20 minutes. And I got several callbacks. One gentleman I spoke to briefly, and he wanted to know why I was calling. I said, I'm grief. I lost my daughter. He goes, oh, it's nothing I can do for you. I handle some other kind of, passing away. And I'm like, oh, okay. But I can give you another lady's name. I said, oh, okay. So he gave me her name. I think she called me the next day. And again, asking me what was I calling for? What kind of grief counseling did I need? I think I did this 3 times, the same type of story. Finally, I got one lady and she says, oh, yeah, I can help you. I'm like, fantastic. So we set up 2 times a week for the first 2 weeks. And then it was going to go to 1 time a week. I told her my story, which probably took up both, 2 times a week, told her the full story, rambling and all, and ending, I want her back.
Mm.
And I was with her probably 2 months because it was September and December is when I stopped with her because the holidays were coming up. I was spinning out of control. And half of my grief hour was about her other clients. She also worked with pets, and I heard about her pets. And I'm thinking, like, wait, I'm paying for this, and we're talking about her dogs and her other side business. I'm not getting any help with my grief. So she said, well, the holidays are coming up. What are you going to do? I said, there's nothing for me to do. And she says, you need to do something different. I said, there's nothing different for me to do. My holidays was around my mother and my daughter.
Mm.
Since Sheena was born, it was my mother and my daughter, and then all my extended friends and family at my house. I did all the cooking. Sheena was my taster for everything. We would prepare. She would chase me down the hall, go get dressed. People are showing up because I'm still looking all crazy. And then she would be entertaining because she loved to do it. Then we would start, the thing. We would serenade my mother with the Christmas wrappers. We sung Silent Night in the morning. And then in the afternoon, we're having a good time. Then we get into the Rick James and Tina Marie's or the Rick James and Smokey Robinson. My mother's holding the camera and it's shaking. That was our routine every single year. I have nothing else new to do. She said, then you need to leave town. And so I spent my first Christmas with Craig. I had just met him. He said, come out here. I'll put you, which is my husband now. I'll put you in a hotel. I'll be with you, not be with you. I'll bring you food, not bring you food. You run this, but come here.
So let me ask you this. It was the first Christmas. You went out of town. You left where you were. You left your normal traditions, your typical traditions that you guys did together.
Mm-hmm.
Did going out of town help the grief?
It did.
Okay.
Because I think if I would have stayed home, I don't think I could have handled it. That
Okay.
was the only advice she ever gave me that helped.
Okay. Awesome.
From September to December, that's the only thing that helped. And I knew I was done then.
So I want to go back to talk therapy. I am not against talk therapy. I believe the grievers need to talk at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Talk therapy helps really because you have to hear yourself say what has just happened to you out loud. So even when you were there, even just hearing yourself say it was absolutely just definitely helpful. The difference is with talk therapy and what you and I did together is she couldn't move you beyond the pain. She didn't know how to move you beyond that pain. And so that's where a program like mine come in. I love that you got on Christmas because now we can segue into our next segment. But before we get there, a lot of people don't come to grief healing. You weren't like, I'm not going. You were actually looking for something. But did you even know what you were looking for?
No,
Okay.
no. I had started grief therapy with my mom when my mom passed. I didn't think it would affect me the way it did, but I was I was just overwhelmed because I had to move my mom out of her home into hospice care, and my mother didn't have a say so. My mother didn't get it. When I took her to the doctor to get checked, and I'll make this fast, the doctor sent her directly to emergency. When she left the hospital, she had to go into hospice care. She didn't get a chance to go back to her house. Didn't get a chance to say, I want this, or say goodbye, or anything. And I lived with that because I saw the lights go out in her eyes.
Yeah.
And once she passed, it just overtook me that, my God, she didn't even have a chance to just walk in her house one more time and know she's not coming back. She
Yeah.
went to a doctor's appointment. And I couldn't let it go. I was nonstop crying. And Little Company of Mary Hospital in California offers free grief
Yeah.
camp for a
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
So I took it up. I was with a wonderful lady that I believe would have helped me if she and I didn't get involved in trying to save Sheena from drinking.
Oh, she started to help you. Oh, I didn't know that. That was beautiful. That's
Because
beautiful.
Sheena could also come to the grief
Oh,
counseling. She came once and she was 3 sheets flying north.
yeah.
And the Miss Shirley just loved Sheena. So every week I'd go for an hour and a half, and we talked about Sheena, what we could do.
Which was also a grieving experience.
But I didn't realize that.
Yeah,
But
right.
the
Exactly.
difference between talking to someone like you and Miss Shirley, she didn't understand the grief either. Because she never told me once we couldn't save her or stop her from drinking. And she also stopped grieving. We stopped working on my grief at all, which was fine with me
Yeah.
because we were trying to help Sheena.
Yeah.
We had business cards, ideas, we had jobs. She was looking for jobs, and so I never got the grief from my mom till I
So,
got to you.
so it all comes to a head. So, okay. So I'm going to end this first segment because I think that's perfect. Okay, friends. The topic is surviving the holidays with deep, deep grief. And so I want to end on that first Christmas, 2021. Craig flies you out to Kansas and he gets you a hotel and you decide to leave LA in order to get through the holidays, to survive through the holidays for sure. So you're there. So we're going to pick up. Friends, come back for part 2 because she really has an amazing story. So honored to have you here. Thank you, Nanette.
Thank you.
For sharing from your heart and your soul. I love it.
Anytime.